If you took all of the things on your baby registry list and added them up, how much money would it amount to? Do you have a baby registry filled with items that people in your life have told you you need? Once all of this stuff comes into your house, is your house just going to be filled with baby items for a human being that really mostly just needs to be close to their parents, to feed, to have a safe place to sleep, and to have diapers changed regularly? So if you have been obsessing over your baby registry, getting everything ready for your sprinkle or your baby shower, or just for that time when your baby comes, I have a real treat. I've invited friend, colleague, former client, founder of Empowered Birth Coaching and Registry Rehab on for the next 12 days. Her name is Lisa. She's amazing. She has lots of evidence-based information, and we're going to put our two brains together for 12 days in a row until December 24th to give you amazing information about how to best prepare for your baby and the items that you are combing through for that baby registry. And we hope to help you to recognize that what you need on your baby registry is support. What you need is to set yourself up to reach out to the people who are going to be most helpful to you once you have that baby in your arms. So welcome to the Milk Making Minutes 12 Days of Postpartum Christmas. I'm your host, Lo Nigrosh, IBCLC and Childbirth Educator, on a mission to uncover the barriers that make breastfeeding so difficult. All right, so I'm back with Lisa, and so we are talking about ways to nourish yourself in those early postpartum days. So I would love to hear what it was like for you early on. Like, let's talk maybe the first month or so after feeding. What was it like for you? How did you make sure that you were getting fed?
This one is important, in my opinion. I did prepare or thought I had prepared prenatally by grabbing my Lily Nichols recipes and making, probably like what felt like 2 weeks worth of frozen meals. But they didn't seem to last that long. And so, unfortunately, I felt like I was grabbing whatever I could grab. And a lot of those foods were not super nourishing and they were not sustaining my intense appetite. And I hear this a lot, and I know it's not everyone's experience, but I've had enough people validate my experience, which was that I was ravenous for a very long time. Like, I was hungry constantly. I had to eat all throughout the middle of the night. I could not make it to the morning. And it seemed that in those early days and weeks, I didn't have the energy and I didn't have the stamina to be standing over the stove, and um I didn't feel comfortable asking the visitors to be making me like nourishing meals with really quality ingredients. So I was eating like a lot of trail mix and dried fruit, and those are great snack foods, but they just were not cutting it. And so I love the idea of a meal train, and I'm talking like a solid meal train. I'm not saying like wing it and just know that you're going to have like a few people in your life that swing by randomly with like a random meal. I'm saying let's get strategic. Let's get like everybody that's invited to your baby shower or your nesting party or everybody in your neighborhood, whatever that looks like, and have them sign up for a day, because we need to be nourished. And I wonder if some of my challenges postpartum were because I was not properly nourished.
Well, I'll link one podcast in particular. It was with a woman named Sarisha, and she lives in the United States. She's been here a long time, but she immigrated to the US and from India. And she gave a story on the podcast, which I have heard many times from people who come from other countries, which is that her parents came for a certain amount of time and her in-laws came for a certain amount of time. And we're talking months, but that it is culturally expected that the person who has given birth to the baby does not do anything but lay in bed, rest, feed the baby, and that everybody else is taking care of them, including cooking. And there are very particular foods which are eaten during that postpartum period. Now, this varies from culture to culture, but the idea is that they are foods that are highly nutritious, really nourishing. Um, some cultures prefer that it's hot
Yeah.
foods, like stews and such. You know, if we look at, what impact that has on milk supply, there's not a ton of studies about that. And we know that it is not the foods you eat that primarily increase your milk supply. However, as you said, when we are not well nourished, it can impact our milk supply because we're just stressed and we're not handling that time well and we're not healing well. And we have kind of lost this a bit culturally that we're expected to bounce back quickly and it's celebrated when we're up and going to the gym as quickly as possible and doing all the things we used to do, but that is just not how we evolved to heal after, even in the best of circumstances, when you have a perfect picture perfect birth exactly how you wanted with everybody supporting you, which rarely happens. Um, it still takes a long time. In fact, some research says you're still in the postpartum period for 2. And then secondly, there is a book that I have in my Amazon shop that's called The First 40 Days. And it is all about the foods that you can eat to really feel well nourished. Remember that your body has just lost a lot of blood. Even if you didn't hemorrhage or anything like that, you are restoring the nutrients that have been lost while growing your baby. We see a depletion in calcium while you're growing your baby. We see a depletion in iron while you're growing your baby. This is no small thing that your body has done. And so, really making sure you tend to that is great, but you can't do it by yourself.
No.
So the meal train idea is amazing. And I always tell people, if you don't feel comfortable setting up your own meal train, ask someone you feel close to set it up for you.
Yeah.
That way it's not you asking people to bring you food. It's somebody else saying, "Hey, let's take care of this person we care about and let's bring food."
And I would love if you don't already have them, Lo, maybe you could link. I've got some great meal train websites that make it super, super easy.
Oh, awesome.
And that's again something I learned in the Be Her Village course, because I want to make sure that if people are looking to create a Be Her Village registry with services and support, that they can easily throw on like mealtrain.com and easily put that together without a lot of extra fuss. And I would bet that your friends and family that are invited to your shower or your nesting party or your sprinkle or whatever it is would be thrilled to participate in that.
Yes, and I love the idea of having people sign up at that time.
Yes.
And they can even sign up for that instead of bringing a gift.
100%.
Yeah, have that be the option. And maybe that's not for everybody, but maybe you can give people the choice. Like, "Hey, here's my registry and the meal train is included there," as you're saying. So, or ask people to do both
Yep.
because,
They
you
want to.
know, yeah, they want to. They wanna help, and often people just wanna know how to help. I had the very lucky experience of my mom coming for 2 weeks, I think 2 weeks, maybe it was a little less, but when both of my children were born, and some people would never wanna host their mom for 2 weeks after they've had a baby. I totally get that. But my mom in these situations is just like, she doesn't need anything from you. She takes care of herself. She is glad to hold the baby, but does not expect it. And she did all the laundry, she cooked all the meals, she did all the cleaning, she did all the grocery shopping, and then she also left me with meals once she left. And then my mother-in-law as well, both times prepared for months during the pregnancy. Would every time we saw her, she would just give us another frozen meal and lots of frozen soups and stews and things like that that could just be easily taken out in a mason jar and thawed and cooked in the pot. So that was amazing. And then the second time I had a baby, I was a part of a mom's club. And that's one of the things that we did. Every time somebody had a baby, we had a meal train.
I love
And it was as easy. And, once you have kids, it feels a little bit daunting. Like, I can hardly get food on the table for my family. How do I
Yes.
do it for somebody else? But, I would always, if I couldn't make a meal myself, I would put together a great, like, a frozen lasagna from the grocery store with,
Yes.
some garlic bread and a salad kit. It doesn't have to be fancy if people don't wanna cook. It
Yep.
can still be highly nutritious, it can feed the whole family, and it doesn't have to take up much of your time. And the only other thing I'll add to this is when I have family members or friends who have babies that live far away, I always offer them that I will pay for a takeout meal anytime they need it. So let's say it's Wednesday, they got sidetracked by the baby, they don't have meal on the table, text me and you tell me where you want me to place your order, and I will call and place it, and I will pay on my credit card, and you can either get that meal delivered or go pick it up. So
Yep.
there are other ways for people who don't live near you to provide meals if you're not close to your if you're not geographically close to your network.
Yeah. And then I just feel like maybe not, but this segues so well. And when you were describing all of the amazing things your mother was doing behind the scenes and in the background, I thought to myself,
Mm.
she sounds like a postpartum doula.
Yes, I know, that makes me wanna cry. I bet my mom would be so good
Please,
at that.
yeah, tell her I said that, and I only bring that up because many of us, we've heard of them, we don't really necessarily understand it, and we may not see the value, and I'm here to tell you that there are services out there that
Yes.
you can hire someone that fits the description of Lo's mom. And you can
Right.
hire somebody to do some of those background, behind the scenes things that we may not all feel super comfortable asking our loved ones to go put in the laundry or bring over a meal. And I just want to throw that out there, which is again that think outside of the box. What does postpartum feel like, sound like, look like to you as an individual, and make that happen ahead of time. And then the baby products and things, they work best when paired with the support.
Yes, exactly. And I just want to add to that many states are now adding legislation that does allow for people to have their insurance pay for doula support, whether that's birth doula or postpartum, and it varies state to state. So check that out. And also, Be Her Village is a gift registry site where you can add support in. Because I have talked to so many people who are like, yeah, my mom, I love her, and she's not the person I want in my house for 2
Yeah.
weeks when I've just had a baby. And they'll give uns, some people's parents give unsolicited advice, or they want to hold the baby the whole time, or they don't understand your feeding choices. Um, and it's not a restful experience. So you are exactly right that postpartum doulas, they are that person in the background just making your life a little bit easier, and they are trained in postpartum baby care,
Right.
so that if you do have a question about paced bottle feeding or breastfeeding, they might not be an IBCLC, but they have enough knowledge to be able to problem solve with you and then say, you know what, I know this network of IBCLCs. I really recommend you reach out to one, because I think what you're struggling with goes beyond just like ordinary struggles that everyone faces.
Love that.
Coming up. Okay, awesome. I love this idea of breastfeeding nourishment and having meal trains. Thank you so much for talking to me about it.
Thank you.
Many people create meal trains in the postpartum period. My question for you is, do you know how to ask your circle of family and friends to bring you meals? Do you know how many meals you're going to need? Do you know how long it will be before you really are feeling energetic enough to make your own meals? I'm here to tell you there is a way to think about how much time you're going to be devoting to baby care, how much time you'll have left to care for yourself, and then to find supports to fill in the gaps. Let's do it together in my childbirth education course, Childbirth Education for a Great Postpartum Period. You can find it on my website, www.coabandbirthservices.com. Go to courses, select the childbirth education course, and we'll work together to make sure you feel like you have your ducks in a row and you are ready to welcome your baby.